and welcome everybody to the McLean Fitness Center for the Jim Roach Memorial Gloucester County Swimming Championships. Hello, I'm Mark Narducci along with former West Deptford swimming star and longtime coach here at GCIT, Mary Swersler, for what should be an exciting event as it usually is, Mary. And it's interesting we mentioned West Deptford because last year the West Deptford boys and girls ended up victorious in this meet. And of course it came down to the last event. Once again, let's talk the boys first. It's going to be a very, very tough team to unseat this West Deptford boys team.
As you can only swim one event, West Deptford has a lot of depth in their boys with Brent Kinsing, Chris Dalsey, Tim Potter, just to name a few to get them started. They're going to be hard to beat this year. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Now you go to the girls' side of it, of course, West Deptford always has a formidable team, but we're hearing that maybe Washington Township could put on a real run tonight. West Deptford graduated some of their strong girls last year, and they still hold a couple strong girls, but Washington Township has Lauren O'Donnell, Heather Mang, Jody, and it just kind of makes them one to keep an eye out on. And the other thing is, as Mary mentioned, in this meet, you can only enter one individual event and two relays. What does this do as far as depth goes? It makes it really, a coach has to play their cards the right way. They have to try and guess where other players are going to put their best swimmers, and you want to work around them where you're going to get the most points. And you know, the state championship's coming up in the next month. How important is a meet like this to kind of get the people ready for that? It lets you eye your competition in the county alone before you hit the big state meet, but it also gets you mentally ready and psyched up because the end of the season's coming. You've got to get yourself prepared now, and this is a great way to start it. Well, the stage is set. As we said again, West Deptford, the defending champion, both in the boys and the girls, and we'll be back for the beginning of the meet right after this timeout.
Hi, I'm Jim Eckert from the Law Enforcement Program. I invite you to visit the Gloucester County Institute of Technology to learn more about our career preparation programs. Students who successfully complete our programs start a career, earn advanced college credits, or enter apprenticeship programs. To schedule a visit, see your guidance counselor or contact our friendly student services staff at 468-1445, extension 2102.
And welcome back. Mark Narducci along with Mary Swersler here from the McLean Fitness Center at Gloucester County Institute of Technology as we're getting ready for the start of the 14th annual Jim Roach Memorial Gloucester County High School Swim Championships. They've also had the diving championships, and we'll get to the winners of that. That was done before this meet, and there was an outstanding competition as well for that. And we're going to be starting off with relays. It'll be the 200 medley relay. Most of these events, we're going to be having two heats in these events, as we will in this first one, Mary. It'll be the women's 200 medley relay. It'll be Deptford in lane 3, Woodbury lane 4, the host Gloucester County Institute of Technology in lane 5, and Delsey Regional in lane 6.
And it's interesting to note here, Gloucester County Institute of Technology, this is their first year they've ever had a team. It doesn't look like they were able to put one in the water. In the first few years of starting a high school team, it takes time to build it up and get it going. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple empty lanes for them tonight.
As we see, closest to us in lane 3 is Deptford in the lead here. 200 medley relay.
Going in first was Deptford. And they've had a nice year through their dual meets. They've progressed nicely this year. And again, they're another building high school in this sport.
Deptford still leading in the breaststroke. In second place in lane number 4 is Woodbury. As we're coming to the midway point, as we mentioned, this is just the first heat. Then we'll have the final heat where obviously the times will be much lower. But this is good, Mary. It gives everybody a chance to compete.
And that's what you want. You want all your high school swimmers to be able to get in there and have a chance to do their championship meet. For many of these swimmers, this is it. They didn't make leagues or states.
And based on these heat seed times, is Deptford ahead there in the butterfly. Deptford seed time of 2:23.21, very much ahead of GCIT, which was at 3:14.41.
To watch over there in lane 6. Delsey's pulled it out a little bit in this butterfly leg.
Yeah, now we have to mention there was no time for Delsey or Deptford, so Delsey, you're right.
And sometimes that's just a matter of they hadn't been able to put the 4 girls together to get a time, so they just enter still with no time.
But Delsey way out in front in lane number 6. And it will be Delsey, although in lane number 4, Woodbury.
It's coming on strong.
A GCIT in 5. But it will be Delsey, and in second place is Woodbury. So Delsey with a time
2:17.66.
So a job well done by Delsey. Then we get to the finals now, the women's 200 medley relay in lane 1, Clearview, lane 2, Our Lady of Mercy Academy, 3, Kingsway, 4, Washington Township, 5, West Deptford, 6, Gateway, 7, Pittman, and 8, Williamstown.
And it's interesting to note again, lane 2 is also another brand new team into this meet this year.
That's Our Lady of Mercy Academy, which is combining with St. Augustine for its team. And it looked like just getting ahead there in lane number 5 was West Deptford touching first. Washington Township in 4 right there as well. Now, Mary, we have to tell the viewers this is a yards pool. Some of the pools around the state are in meters, but this is in yards.
And Washington Township still holds a nice lead. Almost halfway through this race.
Washington Township in lane number 4 at the midway point as we're now into the butterfly. Township in 4. In 5 is West Deptford hanging around there. By the way, the meet record held by Gateway, 156.82. That was in February of 1989. Township seed time 1:58.
Washington Township put a strong relay here together with Nicole Licata, Mindy, Saya, Heather Meng, and entering is Lauren O'Donnell. This has to be their top 4 girls.
And one of the premier swimmers in Gloucester County. So it's Washington Township in the lead. West Deptford in lane 5 right behind. Township on the turn, the final 25 meters. It's the Minute Maids of Township. West Deptford trying to pick up ground, but it's still Washington Township. With about 10 yards to go, Washington Township will win as the Minute Maids are the winner. West Deptford number 2. Township's time 1:58.60, and a nice job in lane number 1, Clearview getting 3rd.
Clearview just touched out the new members, Our Lady in lane 2. What a great race. I think that's what we're going to see with West Deptford, Washington Township all night tonight. They're going to be close.
So Washington Township doing an outstanding job, a little bit slower than the seed time at 1:58.60, but the Minute Maids will take it nevertheless. Now we go to the men's 200 medley relay, heat number 1, in lane 3, Delsey, lane 4, Woodbury, and in lane 5, Washington Township.
It's important to remember, too, when we do this, that these relays are doubled points for your team compared to an individual.
Washington Township in lane number 5. No, excuse me, make that Woodbury in 4 out in front.
With so many lanes spreading across, because this is actually a 10-lane pool, we have an empty lane on each side of the 8 lanes.
Washington Township in lane 5, way out in front. Township did not have a seed time coming in. The Minutemen very, very out in front comfortably.
That was Eric Bromberg who did their breaststroke, and I believe it's Adam Beal who's doing their butterfly leg of this relay.
Delsey in lane 3 is in second.
And that's a nice race going on right there between Woodbury and Delsey.
Yeah, it really is, but as you see there, Washington Township all alone in front.
Now, just because Washington Township's in the first heat does not mean that they can't score within the top 6 and earn points for their team.
That's a good point.
They combine all the times together, and then from there they take the top 6.
So Township is going to be a very, very convincing winner coming in there in the freestyle. And the time 1:48, which, by the way, would be the third best time among the finalists. So Washington Township at 1:48. Now it's Delsey in 3, Woodbury in 4.
And Woodbury just touches out Delsey.
There you see the score on that. Washington Township with that very impressive 1:48.01. Now we'll get to the second heat in the men's 200 medley relay. In lane 2, Kingsway. Lane 3, Gateway. 4, West Deptford. 5, St. Augustine. 6, Pittman. And 7, Clearview. West Deptford the top seed in lane 4 with a seed time of 1:39.77. But it's in lane 6 is Pittman. Pittman doing an outstanding job on the backstroke. Also in lane 5, St. Augustine.
All three are entering the water just about the same time. And this is what you want in a meet like this. You want that competition going for the whole relay.
West Deptford now has pulled out in front.
Tim Potter doing the breaststroke leg, followed by Chris Delsey doing the butterfly leg.
But St. Augustine will not go away. West Deptford getting a comfortable lead by more than a body length at the midway point.
Pittman's hanging right in there too. It's a team we don't often give enough credit to.
West Deptford now really going out in front. As we mentioned, had almost an 8-second better time than anybody else. In lane 5, it's St. Augustine in second place as we go to the final 50 yards of the freestyle for West Deptford.
And right here in lane 3, Jackie Sheehan for Gateway is pulled up a little bit to Pittman to give them a nice race.
So it'll be West Deptford just racing against the clock, and then the battle will be for second place. West Deptford comes in at a time of 1:40.55. St. Augustine in lane 5, and it will be lane 5 finishing in number 2, St. Augustine. And in lane 6 doing an outstanding job, as you mentioned, Mary, is Pittman taking third, 1:52.16.
And so the heat before, Washington Township will get in there to score some points. With their 1:48 would actually put them ending up third. I'm sorry, 1:58 would end up putting them fifth.
And we'll go to the women's 200 freestyle. Heat number 1, in lane 3, Jen Selfridge, Deptford. Lane 4, Jessica Feen, Gateway. 5, Teresa Chico, Williamstown. 6, Mary Rogers, Gloucester County Institute of Technology.
And here the ladies have to swim 8 laps of freestyle. And many of your swimmers will tell you that this is harder race to swim than your 500 freestyle. Only because it's a mid-distance and you really have to get the timing for this race on how you can go out fast enough but still have the endurance on laps 5, 6, 7, and 8.
In lane 5 right now is Teresa Chico of Williamstown out in front. This is really a race of endurance, isn't it?
It is. You really have to figure out how to do this.
Williamstown right now all alone in lane 5. At about a 1:15.82.
She's halfway through her race.
Also in lane 4, Jessica Fien at Gateway. And again, this is just the first heat. In the second heat, obviously, the times will be much, much lower. So Chico of Williamstown has pretty much been leading things from the start. As she touches up now at
lap 6 with a 50 to go.
Yep.
And you have to give GCIT swimmer credit over there. Remember, this is their first year. So for her just to get in there and compete for her team is a big step.
Absolutely. So Chico, who was the second seeded swimmer, has been out in front all race.
She's doing a very nice job coming in the end here strong. She's keeping her kick going.
And finishes up in 2:40.64.
Wow, nice drop. She dropped 17 seconds.
That is a serious drop. Coming in lane 4, Jessica Fien, Gateway. And Jessica touches up there at 2:59.04. And Jeff Selvridge of Deptford, there you see her there, coming in at 3:09.8.
And again for Jen, that's a nice little drop. That's 4 seconds.
As you mentioned, they're still waiting for the race to end because the young lady Mary Rogers of GCIT, and as you said, this is great that they're just competing in this and really giving it their all.
I mean, their team is a first-year team. They had 10 swimmers to a dozen swimmers on their team total, boys and girls combined. But that's how you get started.
That's right. Nice job by the young lady coming in. So that is the first heat of the 200 free freestyle. Now heat number 2, in lane 1, Amy Crumley, West Deptford. 2, Julia Gia Pittman. 3, Lisa Romano, Our Lady of Mercy. 4, Christine Leupold, Clearview. 5, Kristen Best, Kingsway. 6, Nicole Lisa, Washington Township. 7, Kristen Scarpolato, Delsey, and 8, Berna King of Woodbury. And of course, Christine Leupold, the person to watch here, one of the premier swimmers in South Jersey from Clearview.
Christine's done a variety of different strokes this year. She's normally been your sprinter or your breaststroker. She's kind of branched out this year and has tried the 200 more and more. This might have been a surprise for some of the other coaches to catch her in this race.
Leupold, as we mentioned, a real state. You talk about getting ready for the state championships. I mean, she's going to be somebody people are going to have to watch.
She certainly is. And she's following in some big footsteps with her brothers. At the halfway point, Christine's flipping at a 55.70. So at this point, she's looking to go a 156 or a 157 if she can come back in a minute, or a little bit higher, a 101.
Kristen Best from Kingsway in lane number 5 is holding up second place. As Leupold remains very, very strong. She has the best time, Mary, this year in South Jersey in 100 freestyle, 53.8. As you mentioned, just expanding her horizons here in the 200. 50 more yards to go. Leupold well in command, and the record in this event, by the way, 159.7 by Krista Pisuaro of Kingsway. That was set back in 1990.
And I'm sure Christine's going out after the record And that's a nice name to take it from. Trista was a big name when she was swimming in high school. So it's nice to see one powerhouse taking it from another.
Well, her seed time was better than the record, and she does get the record at 155.6. Christine Loophole doing an outstanding job in winning this in record time. Kristen Best from Kingsway, your second place winner. Now they're battling for third, and it will be in lane number 2. Julia, go ahead.
Julia Gia from Pittman. Shelly Burgess has done a real nice job with her Pittman swimmers this year and getting them not just in shape, but working on their techniques at the same time.
So we've had our first Gloucester County record of the day, Christine Loophole, and certainly no surprise that she's the record holder. Then we go to the men's 200 freestyle. In the first heat, in lane number 3, Anthony Delia Delsey, lane 4, Glenn Sweet and Kingsway, and 5, Adam Becker of Pittman. And very interesting, even though this is the first heat, some youth in this heat.
I think they've combined the first 2 heats because that's Chris Danzy on lane 4. So they may have had a scratch. In order to save time, they'll often do this. They'll combine the heats.
Okay. So if we do this now, Jacob Bolton should be in lane 2 of Woodbury. Joe McFadden, Gateway lane 3. Danzy, as you mentioned, of West Deptford in 4. Brian Wolf, St. Augustine 5. Josh Ponner, Williamstown 6. Mike Delia of Clearview in 7. And Danzy, after the first 50 in the lead, Brian Wolf right on his back. Brian Wolf, just a freshman, by the way.
This is definitely a young heat, basically throughout the whole thing, mainly freshmen and sophomores, which says you have a lot coming up in the next 2 years or so.
Yeah, Danzy's been around for a while, but he's only a junior.
Right.
At the midway point, 56.3 for Danzy. But I'll tell you what, the freshman Brian Wolf of St. Augustine's not going away.
He is not. He's hanging right on in there. Just enough to keep Chris aware that he's there and to keep him moving, and it's not an easy win for him.
Josh Ponner of Williamstown, lane 6, also doing a nice job. Danzy's seed time, by the way, 156.80. The record holder in this event, as we have 50 more yards to go, the record holder, Jeff Loophole of Clearview, that was set in 1997, 148.91.
I think that record might be around for quite a few years to come.
So the final 25 yards now for Chris Danzy, and he's just battling the clock, although the freshman Brian Wolf really battling hard, but it'll be Danzy coming in, and he'll be your winner in a time of 158.29. Wolf second, 202.84. And they were the top 2 seeds, and it came in. And in lane number 6, Josh Ponner, Washington Township, I think I had said Williamstown, is your third place winner at 211.93.
Makes it a little harder with the boys because they don't have the caps that the girls wear, which has their team emblem or their team letter on it. And the boys tend to go without the caps.
So your winner in this event, Chris Danzy, and we said at the top of the telecast, West Deptford's going to be very tough to beat in this event, and you can see why.
They happen to have the strength and the numbers in their boys this year.
Now coming up to the women's 200 IM. Heat number 1. Now we have 3 people scheduled, but there are only 2 out there. We have in lane number 3, Rachel McLally of Gateway, and she's in lane 5, and in lane 3, Renee Wooten of Deptford.
It just looks like Andrea from GCIT, maybe due to an injury or an illness, she wasn't able to make the race.
So McAnally in lane number 5, Wooten in lane number 3. McAnally seed time 3:29.71.
And this is a hard race to do because you have to do 2 laps of every stroke. So you really have to be diversified and be able to finish and legally do each stroke.
Oh, the other thing is, how about besides the versatility needed, how about the endurance that you need to go in this?
Right. You're right, because you start out with a hard stroke as butterfly, and then everybody has their one stroke that's weaker, so you work that one extra hard.
Again, this is the first heat of the women's 200 IM. And McAnally very comfortably out in front as she's concluding the backstroke. .124.77 on that.
As she goes into her breaststroke leg.
By the way, you talk about records that may not be broken. The record in this event is by Christy Herbst of West Deptford, 2:12.93. That was set in 1998.
She's one of those graduating seniors that West Deptford lost last year for their girls team, which could make a difference this year.
You mentioned that. West Deptford was really hit hard, weren't they, by graduation?
They certainly were. And this year, it'll happen to them in the boys. They lose Matt Wildrick and Brent Kinsing. So they're going to feel it in their boys next year a little bit, too.
There you see Rachel McAnally of Gateway, a senior, in this first heat, as now she goes for the final 50 yards of freestyle. I have to watch myself saying yards and meters all the time, but we're swimming with yards here today.
And this is a difficult race to fill, not just because it's so hard to swim, but you have to remember a lot of these teams are co-ed. So when they swim their meets, their heats are combined girls and boys, and when they come to a meet like this, they have to suddenly be able to divide their team into 2 separate teams. And you have to make sure you have enough girls to fill all your events.
Yeah, you're right about that, about the depth. And as we also talked about, adding to that is McAnally finishes up in a time of 3:04.39. You're looking there at Renee Wooten of Deptford, just a freshman, so.
Give her credit for getting in to do this race.
Absolutely, and competing in this outstanding meet, certainly she will benefit from this experience.
And just the exposure and how to deal with the number of swimmers and how you go through warm-up that's so crowded when you're used to your own team swimming.
Of course, this is a beautiful facility. It hosts many of the premier high school and collegiate events, not only in the state, but beyond that as well.
Yes, we do here.
And Wooten finishes up 3:54.78. There you see the time. So that'll bring up Heat 2, the finals of the women's 200 individual medley. In lane 2, Kate Carnahan, Our Lady of Mercy Academy. 3, Julia Heil, Washington Township. 4, Lauren Stillwell, Kingsway. 5, Lauren Canova, Pittman. 6, Jenna Trail, Williamstown. 7, Brooke Carfan, West Deptford. 8, 7, Kristen Ferguson, Woodbury. And 8, Shanna Remsen of Delsey.
Taking it out early is Lauren Canova from Pittman. Followed closely, though, the rest of the pack is pretty close together.
Canova in lane 4, I think I identified it lane 3, but she's the top seed with a seed time of 2:24.08. Jenna Trail, Williamstown, 2:28.31 is her seed time.
And Jenna's really not giving up on Lauren. She's given Lauren a nice little run.
But in lane 4, it is Lauren Stillwell from Kingsway at the midway point, with Trail just trailing behind, but not by much.
And touching third at the bottom of your screen is Julia from Washington Township.
Julia Heil from Township. But this looks to be a two-person race, as the seed times would indicate. Canova of Pittman, just a sophomore too, in the lead. We mentioned Christy Herbst of West Deptford with a record in this event, 2:12.93. That one probably looks safe for this year. Canova in 4, Trail in 5. A pair of sophomores, and they will battle as we get to the final 50 yards of freestyle.
And now it's a matter of who has the extra endurance left to finish the race.
Trail looking to make up some ground, but Canova still ahead by more than a body length as she touches up there, as you see.
And you can see at the bottom of your screen, Washington Township has squeaked in here, is trying for the third, if Lauren Stillwell can hold off.
But it'll be Lauren Canova. Canova going in, and she will be your Gloucester County champion in a time of 2:24.16. Trail second.
And it's a race for third between Brooke and Lauren Stillwell.
And it looks like touching up first was Stillwell of Kingsway in lane number 3. As you mentioned, very close, but your winner in lane number 4, the top seeded Lauren Canova in a time of 2:24.16. Mary, I've noticed here a lot of the seed times have been higher than the times that we've seen here today.
Well, you have to remember a lot of the high school meets, some of them are swum here, but many are swum at Burlington County or at Gloucester County, and the water's different. The whole pool atmosphere is different. It's a little smaller, a little hotter. And they come to a facility like this where the water's kept a little cooler for racing purposes. The atmosphere is opened. If you're able to breathe, move around a little more freely, it makes a big difference on their attitude getting up to swim the race.
Now this is the men's 200 IM, and there will be just one heat. In lane number 1, Eric Miller, Delsey, 2, Dan Micholik, Woodbury, 3, Matt Stanzione, St. Augustine, 4, Jack Sheehan, Gateway, 5, Eric Brumberg, Washington Township, 6, Adam Root, West Deptford, and 7, PJ Morrison, the freshman from Pittman.
And he's the lone freshman in this race.
Well, right now it's lane 5, Eric Brumberg, touching up after the first 50.
And Jackie Sheen and Eric Bromberg have a real nice race going here.
Of course, Sheen had the top seed time, 158.99. Bromberg at 201.40. The record in this event set in 1992 by Matt Macharnik of Clearview in a time of 1:54.73. But at the midway point, it's Bromberg of Washington Township. He will touch up first. His time at the midway point, 55.97 seconds. As they're in the breaststroke, and again, Bromberg still out in front. There you see both of them there. By about half a body length there.
It's going to come down to the freestyle and who wants to be a little more gutsier.
It's Bromberg and Sheen, and we haven't had 1-2 duels. They've been pretty convincing winners so far in this event. This might be different. Bromberg touches up first for the final 50 yards. It's Eric Bromberg and Jack Sheen. Sheen, the veteran from Gateway, trying to make up with Bromberg, still holding him off. So it'll be the final 25 yards that'll decide it here. Bromberg in the red, Sheen in the blue. Bromberg still out in front. In fact, Bromberg's pulling out, and it's going to be Eric Bromberg who will be your Gloucester County champion. Jack Sheen of Gateway takes second.
And Eric went a 158.97. Jackie went a 201.79.
So a nice job by the Washington Township sophomore. Pretty good sportsmanship too. The young men
they certainly
congratulating
do.
one another.
That's nice to see.
By the way, in lane number 6, Adam Root of West Deptford placed third in a time of 2:26.14, and in lane number 3, Matt Stanzione of St. Augustine finished as your 4th place. So Eric Brumberg, a job well done by the Washington Township sophomore in winning the Gloucester County Championship in the 200 IM.
Eric's weak stroke there is the butterfly, but he took it out and hung with Jackie, and I think that's what he knew going in he had to do, was take it out and hang with him. And a lot of it's race strategy when you get to a point the level they're at. And there you can see their times.
As we mentioned, Mary, there have not been a lot of top one-on-one duels in this. They've been pretty convincing winners. That one had a pretty nice race with the 2 of them battling each other. This is heat 1 of the women's 50 freestyle. Lane 3, Andrea Parkhill, Deptford. 4, Lauren Millardy, Pittman. 5, Darcy Moore, Williamstown. 6, Victoria Mulhall of Gloucester County Institute of Technology.
And we have a nice race going here between the top 3 girls.
Millardy of Pittman in 4, but it's lane number 5, Darcy Moore. Darcy Moore in 5. Will she touch up first? Yes, she will. In a time of 31.70, edging out in lane number 3, Andrea Parkhill of Deptford, and finishing in 3rd place, Lauren Millardy of Pittman.
And that's a nice drop. A second for 2-lap swim is a nice drop.
Well, the final heat will be in lane number 1, Elaine Blair from Gateway. In 2, Rachel Babcock, West Deptford. 3, Megan Freilinger, Our Lady of Mercy. 4, Beth Gill, Woodbury. 5, Kelly Logan, Washington Township. 6, Adrian Park, Kingsway. 7, Lisa Lumberg, Deptford. And 8, Sarah McMullen of Clearview. Gill, your top seed in lane 4, top time of 26.15. The record, 25.31. Michelle Lambert of Clearview, set in 1989. This one's really, really close. In lane 4, though, your top seed, Beth Gill, looks like she's going to pull it out, and she does. Beth Gill of Woodbury in a time of 26:01, beating out in lane number 3, Megan Freilinger of Our Lady of Mercy Academy.
And I'm sure Michelle was watching. She's a coach. The record holder is a coach over here at GCIT, and I'm sure she had her eye on the time as it was going to make sure her record stood for another year.
Finishing in 3rd place, by the way, in lane number 5, Kelly Logan of Washington Township. Now the men's 50 free, first heat. Steve Shemley, Deptford, lane 3. They have full start there, which, by the way, gives us a chance to catch our breath.
That's right.
Lane number 4, Ryan Canova, Williamstown, and lane 5, David Ramsey of Gateway.
And they're letting all 3 boys back up to swim.
Little anxiousness on that full start. Canova of Williamstown, the junior, your top seed. He's in lane number 4, and he's gotten out to a quick lead. But also in lane number 5 is David Ramsey of Gateway. It'll be Canova touching first as we get to the final 25. Canova in lane 4. Ramsey in lane 5. Trying to move up is Shemley of Delsey in lane 3. But it's Canova. Canova convincingly, he'll touch up first in this first heat. It's Canova first, and in second was lane number 5. That was David Ramsey. The time, 30.41. Now the final heat. In lane 1, Jim Winkler, St. Augustine. 2, John Harshaw of Woodbury. 3, Dan Sanders, West Deptford. 4, Dave Roberts, Washington Township. 5, Brad Hyatt, Clearview. 6, Matt Shepardson, Kingsway. 7, Chris Rose, Pittman. And 8, Christian Galetta of Deptford.
It's interesting, your top seed, Dave Roberts, is a freshman.
Roberts of Washington Township is in lane number 4, but getting out fast in lane 5 is Brad Hyatt of Clearview. Hyatt touches first there. This is going to be a tremendous race. It's Hyatt in lane 5 out in front. Also in lane 6, Shepardson giving him a battle too. But it's Hyatt in lane 5, and Hyatt's going to be your winner. And touching up for second place in lane number 3 was John Harshaw of Woodbury. Finishing in third in lane number 2, was Harshaw. In lane 3, second, Dan Sanders of West Deptford. But your winner, the senior from Clearview, Brad Hyatt, in a time of 23.55.
And what a nice way to end your senior year in a meet like this by taking an event. You have to give Dave Roberts a lot of credit for getting up there to swim. Not many people realize he was in an accident over the Christmas holidays and lost a finger, and this is the first time he's been up and competing since then. So he had some rehabilitation to go through, but yet he was able to come back and compete in a race like this.
And he was in 4th place in that. Well, we have a timeout here at the pool, but we'll be back for more exciting action from the McLean Fitness Center at Gloucester County Institute of Technology. It's the 14th annual Jim Roach Memorial Gloucester County Swim Championship.
Hi, I'm Justin Victor from the Culinary Arts program. I invite you to visit the Gloucester County Institute of Technology to learn more about our career preparation programs. Students who successfully complete our programs start a career, earn advanced college credits, or enter apprenticeship programs. To schedule a visit, see your guidance counselor or contact our friendly student services staff at 468-1445, extension 2102.
And welcome back to the McLean Fitness Center here at the Gloucester County Institute of Technology. The 14th annual Jim Roach Memorial Gloucester County High School Swimming and Diving Championships. Mark Narducci along with Mary Swersler here. As we get to event number 11, the women's 100 butterfly, heat number 1. In lane 4, Courtney Strago, Williamstown, and in lane 5, Rebecca Powell of Delsey. We were originally supposed to have 3 swimmers in this, but as happens, especially in these first heats, sometimes the swimmers drop out.
And this is a race of endurance, swimming 4 laps of butterfly. 2's not bad, but when you hit laps 3 and 4, it's a matter of having the endurance to get through this last 2.
There's Strago of Williamstown. She touches up first. 36.51, her split at the halfway point.
And Rebecca over there is a freshman. Got to give her a lot of credit for getting in and doing this for Delsey.
You know, we're seeing a lot of freshmen here, aren't we, in these championships? A lot of young swimmers.
That's good news for our county, up and coming and keep the sport in business.
I'll tell you what, the way the sport's been booming, I don't think that's a problem.
Well, between the winter swimming and the high school swimming and the summer leagues, it certainly has.
There's Courtney Straga. She's going to win this first heat comfortably in a time of 1:22.51. Now heat number 2. In lane number 1, Nicole Tribble, Woodbury. 2, Amy Quigley, Clearview. 3, Jill McNulty Gateway. 4, Megan Sebastian, West Deptford. 5, Mindy Sayam, Washington Township. 6, Kelly Hawley, Our Lady of Mercy Academy. And 7, Desiree Tubb of Kingsway. And by the way, the seed times here, Sebastian Utopsy 101.56, Saya at 101.80 in lanes 4 and 5.
Megan Sebastian's a nice addition to West Deptford. She had been at Gloucester Catholic, and she recently transferred over. She sat out her required amount of time, but it's a nice addition for the girls' team.
And it'll be Sebastian touching up first at the first 50 yards.
But Mindy Say is hanging right on to her.
It's Sebastian in the green there. Saya, you see her in the orange cap to her left, and Saya really looks like she's getting stronger here as we're 3/4 finished. We're down to the last 25 yards.
And this is where that endurance is. Who can hang into the last 25?
It's Sebastian in 4, Saya in 5. They're neck and neck. It's going to be the touch in this. Sebastian in 4, Saya in 5, and touching up first is Sebastian. And just as their seed times, this was just as close, 101.33 to 101.35. What a great race by Megan Sebastian.
Has to be the best race we've had of the evening.
And in lane number 6, touching up third, is Kelly Holy of Our Lady of Mercy Academy. What a race here in the women's 100 fly.
There you can see the results. It was just 2/100ths of a second.
Now the men's fly, just one heat in this. It'll be Luke Hohenstein, Delsey, lane 1, Chip Holston, Woodbury 2, 3, Adam Beal, Washington Township, 4, Chris Dolsey, West Deptford, 5, Mike Fralinger, St. Augustine, 6, Ryan Lindsay, Kingsway, 7, Tim Mason, Pittman, and 8, Steve Work of Gateway.
It makes you wonder, is Chris Dolsey going for his own record that he set last year in the same event?
Dolsey's time of 53.73, almost 5 seconds better than the next competitor, so it'll be a major upset if Dolsey doesn't successfully defend his title here in the men's 100 fly. Dolsey really looking strong. Of course, his record 55.79, but his seed time was better than that, so it looks like Dolsey is going to be setting the record, coming in a time of 52.37. He's a record holder, breaking his own mark, finishing second in lane number 3, Adam Beal of Washington Township, and in lane number 5, Mike Fralinger of St. Augustine.
What a swim for Chris. He looked strong right from the start, the whole way through the race. He dropped the seed time 1.5 seconds.
I believe, Mary, that's our second record. Christine Leupold earlier on of Clearview.
Correct, and then Chris in the 100 butterfly.
Well, great job by the West Deptford Junior, who maybe next year in this event will be back to shatter it one more time. We go to the women's 100 freestyle. First heat, lane number 3, Candice Martinez, Deptford. 4, Amanda Glass, Our Lady of Mercy Academy. 5, Heather Wharton, Delsey. 6, Terry Owens, GCIT. And then in the second heat, we really have an all-star cast. So 2 record holders so far in this 14th annual Jim Roach Memorial Gloucester County High School Swimming Championship. In lane number 4, leading things out, is Amanda Glass, the freshman. We keep talking about these young swimmers. The freshman from Our Lady of Mercy. She had the best seed time in this heat of 109.52.
She's got a nice strong kick going into her 50, and that's what you need when you do a sprint race. You have to be able to keep the legs going the whole way through.
30.74 on that first 50 for Amanda Glass of Our Lady of Mercy. In second place in lane number 5, Heather Wharton of Delsey, but it's Glass by a considerable margin here as she comes for her final 25. Glass is just racing against the clock, and as you mentioned, maybe if she gets a good time, could get within the people in the final heat as well. Amanda Glass is going to win this heat in a time of 107.17.
And in second place, we had lane 5, who was Heather. She finished with a 1:14.43.
Well, that'll bring us to the finals of the women's 100 freestyle. Lane 1, Megan Gilmore Pittman. 2, Jen Blair Woodbury. 3, Lauren Brown West Deptford. 4, Bethany Terse Kingsway. 5, Lauren O'Donnell Washington Township. 6, Jackie Neely Clearview. 7, Megan Jacoby Gateway. And 8, Kristen Mungan from Williamstown. The record holder in this event last year, Christine Leupold of Clearview, 53.43. Bethany Terse of Kingsway, your top seed time of 56.24. And we're off. 100 freestyle. In lane number 4, getting out in front is Terse, your top seed of Kingsway. She'll touch up first. It's Terse in 4, but Lauren O'Donnell of Washington Township in 5, staying right with her. Terse and O'Donnell as we come to the midway point, and it will be Terse barely touching up first. Bethany Terse, a senior. In fact, Lauren O'Donnell, a senior, so these two are veterans. In third place, Lauren Brown of West Deptford. But it's Bethany Terse in lane number 4, Lauren O'Donnell in lane number 5, and it's going to be a battle.
Lauren O'Donnell just won't quit. She's hanging on to Bethany.
Terse, though, leads, and Terse is going to take it home. And Terse is your winner. O'Donnell second. Coming in third is Lauren Brown of West Deptford. Terse's time, 55.68. So your top seed lowers her seed time. And Bethany Terse of Kingsway is your winner. There are your times. That was a great duel between the two seniors. Lauren O'Donnell finishing second. Now the men's 100 freestyle, first heat, first of 2 heats. In 3, Andrew Fisher, Deptford. 4, Brian Copestick, Williamstown. And 5, Ted Fisher of Delsey.
It's nice to see, like the race before, that the two girls were able to compete with each other but still get out of the water and be friends.
Absolutely. And in lane 3, Andrew Fisher of Deptford is your leader at the midway point. Copestick of Williamstown had the best seed time of 1:10.60 by quite some margin.
Andrew looks strong here the whole way through.
Absolutely. Fisher with a 29.09 in the first 50, and Fisher really swimming strongly. Fisher's going to win going away in this one. Much lower than his seed time, 104.17. And Copestick will finish second at a 1:10.49, and coming in third is Fisher. Ted Fisher, that is, Andrew Fisher.
We had 2 Fishers there.
Of Deptford is your winner. Wow, that's a really low time, isn't it? Compared to his...
Oh, he certainly did. You should be proud of that race.
We had a false start here, which gives us a chance to catch our breath. Men's 100 freestyle, the final heat. Jason Mulchuck Woodbury, 1. In 2, Brian Turley Pittman, 3. Matt Napoli, Kingsway, 4. Jeff Brown, Washington Township, 5. Jason Spence, West Deptford, 6. Matt McFadden, Gateway, 7. Adam Longino, St. Augustine, and 8, Jeff McMillan of Clearview.
And I believe they're going to catch West Deptford's Jason Spence for moving a little early on the start, which then would mean he's out of the race.
Wow, if that's the case, that would be a major loss, because his seed time was the second highest at 54.37.
Right, he can't be replaced on a disqualification due to a false start.
Wow.
You're not allowed to replace anybody.
So the top seed in lane 4 is Jeff Brown of Washington Township, 53.07. Be tough to break the record of Joey Mollet of Pittman of 48.54, set in 1997. And it is lane 4, Brown touching up first in the first 25 meters. It's Brown in 4, Napoli in 3, but it'll be Jeff Brown at the midway point with a time of 24.44.
Matt Napoli's doing a nice job staying right in there with Jeff Brown.
Brown by a body length as he goes to the final 25 yards. Brown not seriously challenged, but as you mentioned, Napoli coming on strong, but it's still Brown. with 10 yards to go. It'll be Jeff Brown, your Gloucester County champion. Napoli second. Now we're going to have a battle for third, and in lane number 2, doing an outstanding job is Brian Turley of Pittman getting third, but Brown wins it in a time of 53.38.
Some nice time drops. You can see third place there dropped his time almost 2 seconds.
And fourth place, as you see in lane 7, Adam Longino, just a freshman from St. Augustine. Well, the next 4 heats, we're coming up to what is really
a long race.
A major endurance test. We talk about having to be in shape to do the IM, to do all these other events. The 500 freestyle. First of 2 heats. In lane number 1, Jessica Kaiser, Delsey. 2, Bessie Bell, Gateway. 3, Strep Tash, Deptford. 5, and 6, Brandy Minkus, Gloucester County Institute of Technology. Mary, you know, I was thinking to myself, how do the people keep up with how many laps they're taking, but they have the people down the end to hold up what lap it is.
Each swimmer has to provide themselves with a counter, and the counter counts their odd laps for them so they know what lap they're on, and then on lap 19, rather than putting 19 in, they'll put a bright orange in the water so that the swimmer knows he's on his last lap. You'll also have the officials either blow a gun or a beeper to inform everybody there's only a 50 left in the race.
Bessie Bell of Gateway leading things in lane number 4.
Again, this is a long race. It's 20 laps. It's a matter of endurance and training. You just can't get in and expect to come up with 20 laps right away. You have to get a feel for the water. You'll see in the next heat. The times are a little faster, but they're the girls that have done this more often and know how to swim it with a little more knowledge.
I would think in a race like this, experience is really crucial.
It really is. It actually is one of my favorite races to coach and actually to swim. But as a bystander, it can become long at times.
Well, as you know from coaching, as we're getting to the 6th lap, finishing up, and Bell well in command. And again, as most of the fields have been, this is a young one here. Kaiser of Delsey, just a freshman. Bessie Bell, sophomore. Tash of Deptford, a junior. And Brandy Minkus of Gloucester County Institute of Technology, just a freshman. Bell had the best seed time at 6:41.78, but Tash wasn't that far behind at 6:45.59.
You know, it's interesting to stand here and watch, and you can see it on your monitor now. Lane 6 has swimmers standing behind it. It's good to see that a freshman team like GCIT has their swimmers there supporting them and getting Brandy through this long race.
How long is it? Well, they're just nearing the 9th lap at least. Bessie Bell, who's been your leader from the start, and all this swimming. I mean, sometimes you must hit a wall in this race because all this swimming that Bell has done, as you see her coming in the green cap, and this is only the midway point of the race.
That's where you need your friends standing on the side to keep you going, just mentally. Get you through the middle part's the hard part right here, 12 through 16.
Now, traditionally, you do not see many people who are sprinters go to this, do you? Or do you?
Not really. Your sprinters, they consider more your 50s, your 100s, and a 200 on occasions. This is considered more of a distance race.
And they don't usually overlap, right? They specialize maybe?
Right.
I'll tell you what, it's exhausting watching these youngsters, how hard they're working in this pool. The other thing that must be really difficult is as Belle finishes up her 12th lap, the other thing that must be difficult is pacing yourself in something like this.
Well, that's where you're going to find in the next heat. You'll see some of your more swimmers who have had more experience with this. They know how to do that. They know how to keep the feel of the water and whether they've gone up or down in their times.
I'll tell you, Mary, I actually have to write it down because I lose track too. Belle now coming in on the 14th lap. There you see her well out in front. And actually, she's about 2 laps ahead of some of the competition here.
Right, and that's very common in your distance races, just because you hit different abilities.
There you see, it's a good look there, the sign. You saw the 15 being pulled out of the water there from Belle.
The counters also help the officials realize who's in front and how many more your lead swimmer has or how many more your last swimmer in each heat has.
Belle now through 16 out of 20 laps. Still looking strong.
And she's just keeping it long. Her stroke, seems to have found a nice little pace for herself that's working to get her through the last 3 laps of this.
There you see the 17 coming out. Well, by far the longest race of the meet. Earlier we saw 200.
And you just heard the gun indicate that she only has 50 more to go.
Gun went off a little early.
Well, they try and do it when she's at the flags coming in, just to kind of give them some space.
By the way, in lane 3, Jessica Kaiser of Deptford just finished up her 17th lap now. So actually in your screen it almost looks like Kaiser will be in the lead, but she won't be. There you see your swimmer, Bessie Belle. She's going to be finishing up here. Kaiser finishing her 18, and there's Belle. Job well done. In a time of 6:37.33, so she lowers that seed time by more than 4 seconds.
She sure did. That was a real nice swim. She found a nice little pace for her and went with it. And Stephanie Tesh ended up second in the heat with a 6:52.06.
Nice job by the Deptford Junior, and that's how they were seated. She was seated second behind Bessie Belle.
And now we just have our 2 freshmen finishing up the race. What a way to start your freshman year, by being entered in this race. Good for them. And
that's Jessica Kaiser at Delsey in lane number 3.
And I believe Mandy still has 100 to go. 100 or 50. We'll have to check with the counter at the other end.
Yeah, it looks like 50, right? I saw a 9 up there.
Yep, they're putting in the orange, so this will be it for her.
Brandy Minkus from the host Gloucester County Institute of Technology. As you mentioned, a first-year team and probably a team that's going to have a lot of potential down the road.
They've just picked up a couple new sports this year, and we can see in the swimming alone, the majority of them have been freshmen. And very nice job by Brandy. She finished in an 8:17.26.
So there your winner in lane number 4, Bessie Belle of Gateway, just a sophomore in the first heat. But now we get to the final heat of the women's 500 free, no relay. In 1, Cara Bowman, Williamstown. 2, Jody Bachman, Washington Township. 3, Nora Fleming, Woodbury. 4, Jody Kaiser, Clearview. 5, Amanda Smamialto, Our Lady of Mercy. 6, Mary Steck, Pittman. 7, Megan Falls, Kingsway. And 8, Jess Daly of West Deptford. And touching up after the first 50 is Jody Kaiser of Clearview.
Now we did just receive word that the men's 500 free has been combined into one heat. So obviously somebody in the first heat was not able to make it. What'll happen is they're going to take Joe and move him from lane 3 and put him in lane 8 of the next heat. And Abraham Winter will go from lane 5 into lane 1 of the final heat. So we'll just have one heat of the men's 500 freestyle.
And touching first after 100 yards in lane number 4, Jody Kaiser of Clearview. Kaiser had your top seed time of 5:26.59. Smaniotto of Our Lady of Mercy Academy, second time of 5:27.42. There's a look at your leader in this final heat. Jody Kaiser, Clearview.
And you can tell by Jody's stroke and just by the speed that she's going, she has experience in this race. She often does the 500 or in some of her U.S. meets, 1,000 or 1650. So she kind of has her pace down, how quick she wants to go out and how to hold it then.
Yeah, we talked about how sprinters don't usually go up to 500, but how about the record holder in this event? Christine Loophole of Clearview, who we've seen swim the 100.
The 50, the breaststroke.
Yeah.
She's very versatile. She's thrown people for a loop because she will suddenly put herself in a race like this when she's not expected to be there.
Kaiser, by the way, going up to the 9th lap here. But also being battled by Smaniotto of Our Lady of Mercy Academy, the freshman. As we get to the midway point of this race, 2:36.78, Kaiser's time for the first 10 laps. Kaiser actually looks like she's getting stronger.
I'm sure much of that is from her training that she does. She is a GCIT swimmer. So 500 to her is just a simple warm-up.
How much will you as swimmers swim to do this event, say at one time, to train for this?
If you're a high school swimmer, if you're strictly a high school swimmer, you want to do 500s consistently in practice or maybe 600s to over distance.
Right.
So you don't die at the end of the race. If you're more of a U.S. swimmer and do it year-round, your yardage goes up a little bit more and you'll tend to go more 1,000 trainings where you do 40 laps rather than 20 laps.
Because don't a lot of swimmers a lot of times do overtrain the distance just to get the endurance?
To keep the endurance up, yes.
Kaiser, by the way, 14 laps, 6 to go. And falling behind, but still in second place, Amanda Smaniotto, Our Lady of Mercy Academy. Actually, you see two swimmers together there, but it's the ones to the far right. Kaiser, who's about actually 2 laps ahead of the swimmer in lane 3. It could be confusing at times. Lane 3 is Nora Fleming. She's the freshman from Woodbury. Kaiser just up to her 17th lap. There you see the number 17. But Clearview's had a fine program. Haven't the Pioneers over the years?
They do. They keep their 1 or 2 swimmers, 3, in there every year. They've got somebody to keep an eye on.
And it'll be the gun lap for Kaiser.
It's ironic if we watch the counter for Jody is Christine Loophole, who happens to hold this record. And she's shaking that orange to get Jody going for her last 25.
The record, by the way, 5:10.61. Kaiser won't be getting the record, but she will be winning this race. Jody Kaiser, in an outstanding effort, is your Gloucester County champion in the 500 in a time of 5:18.58.
Nice swim. She was entered with a 5:26.
She's pretty pumped up, and you can understand why. And in second place, and she swam an outstanding race, Amanda Smanielto of Our Lady of Mercy Academy in a time of 5:30.12.
And you can see her being there congratulated by Brent Kinsing, who will be in the next heat. But to him, it doesn't matter. Somebody had a good race. He's out there congratulating and encouraging them on.
Yeah, we mentioned it before. A lot of camaraderie among these Gloucester County swimmers, and a lot of great sportsmanship as we've seen.
And a strong finish for lane 3. Nora Fleming, who just touched out Mary Steck over in lane 6.
Yeah, Fleming, just a freshman from Woodbury, in a time of 6:08.24. And you mentioned it, very, very close. Steck in lane 6 finished 4th in a time of 6:09.23.
But what a drop for Mary Steck. She was entered in 6:15. And that's a nice thing about this race. You see big drops as the swimmers get used to doing it more and more.
So a job well done by the young ladies there. You see all the times there. And I'll tell you, even that last time, you have to give credit. Kara Bowman of Williamstown for finishing up that race. As Mary mentioned, there will just be one heat in the men's 500 free.
And it'll take a while because they have to give the men time to get used to the fact that it's one heat and get them all readjusted to make sure they're in their proper lanes.
So in lane 1, Abram Winter of Delsey. In 2, J.J. Cunningham, Woodbury. 3, Shane McGrath, Washington Township. 4, Brent Kinsing, West Deptford. 5, Alex Montero of St. Augustine. 6, Ben Rush, Kingsway. 7, Mick White, GCIT. And 8, Joe Fizikowski of Pittman. Brent Kinsing, the overwhelming favorite in this race, a seed time of 4:56.43. That's more than 50 seconds higher than the second time.
And you can see he's easily out in the lead as of the first 50.
Now the record in this event, 4:44.95 by Tim Rogers of West Deptford. That has stood since 1989. Might be tough for Kinsing to try to break a record like that, simply because he's probably not going to be pushed in this race.
Right, he simply has to do it on his own. It's him against the clock for the whole 20 laps.
Although you wouldn't put it past him, would you? I mean,
not Brent, no.
One of the premier swimmers in all South Jersey, headed to Duke University. Has really come back with a vengeance this year, hasn't he?
Yes, he had a tough year last year, but he was able to keep it all together, keep his head in it the right way, and turn the year around to have a real positive and outstanding year so far this year.
People don't realize that swimmers, no matter how accomplished, anyone can hit a wall.
You certainly do. We all have one within your last 4 years of high school. There's always 1 year where your times just aren't going to drop like you want them to.
Yeah, it's a one sport where if you win a state championship, say as a sophomore, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get back and do it.
There's always new competition out there.
Kinsing finished 7 laps, looking very strong. We talk about Christine Leupold being a versatile swimmer. How about Brent Kinsing?
He sure is. This is a surprise to put him in here. He could have done the breaststroke, the 200 IM. The West Deptford coach pretty much had to play with what she had and figure out where she was going to get enough points, and she must have figured that with Brent in the 500 free, she could easily get a win and still be okay in another event somewhere along the line.
Coach Barb Hollenbeek has done a fine job with that West Deptford program. Kinsing, by the way, nearing the midway point, and his time 2:24.31.
Now we had a scratch in this event, and that's why we were combined to one heat. What happens is if somebody is sick, they have a scratches meeting in the beginning, and if there is nobody to replace or to fill in that spot, then they try and combine heats to save some time.
Kinsing finished 12 laps now, way out in front. In fact, in lane number 5, Alex Montero of St. Augustine doing a nice job, but he's about 2 laps behind Kinsing.
St. Augustine's for a first-year team is really putting themselves in the spotlight, making it known that there's somebody to keep an eye out on in the future.
Yeah, there's no question. St. Augustine, of course, an all-boys school, and Our Lady of Mercy Academy, all-girls school, and they combine for the swim teams. As Kinsing now to his 15th lap, we say Montero to the right just completed his 13th. So it looks like Kinsing's not in the lead, but actually he's up by about 2 laps. Kinsing's time, 3:54.52 with 4 laps to go. Well, one thing about this race is Kinsing finishes 17th. At least if you're in it, you're on TV longer than anybody else.
There you go. That's one way to get on TV, right?
And the gun lap is sounded for Brent Kinsing. 4:24.39 through 18 laps. So we're not likely to see a record here, but what an effort by Brent Kinsing. In fact, he's past the record time now, but he'll be winning convincingly, just as the seed time showed. Brent Kinsing coming in as your Gloucester County champion at a time of 4:53.51.
He's still better to seed time by 3 seconds, and that was swimming it basically by himself.
Yeah, we talked about that. Alex Montero, the sophomore from St. Augustine, doing a fantastic job in lane number 5. And it looks like Montero is going to wrap up second place. He's been in second the whole time, right behind Kinsing, and he does at a 5:38.76. Well, there's your winner, Brent Kinsing.
And it's nice to see that Brent didn't immediately get out of the water and walk away from the race. You know, he's making sure some of the other swimmers are getting a chance to finish and showing his team spirit to all of the swimmers, no matter what team they're from.
Nice job, too. Yep, a good display of sportsmanship. In lane number 3, by the way, Shane McGrath of Washington Township finished up third in a time of 6:06.94. And in lane number 6, it was Ben Rush of Kingsway, just a sophomore. He finished fourth, 6:11.82. By the way, Mary, Brent Kinsing was the only senior in this event.
Now they can all do it again next year.
So we're at the Gloucester County Swimming Championships here. We just completed the men's 500 freestyle. We'll be back for more right after this.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Sally's having some behavioral problems.
I guess that reward system isn't working.
Well, the timeouts weren't either.
Well, you're just too lenient.
Well, you're too strict.
No, you are.
Oh, you are.
Where can adults go for ideas when they feel as frustrated as kids? ConnectForKids.org, guidance for grown-ups.
And welcome back. Mark Narducci with Mary Swersler here at the Gloucester County Institute of Technology, the McLean Fitness Center, as we have heat 1 of 2 heats in the women's 200 free relay. In lane 3, Deptford. Lane 4, West Deptford. Lane 5, Gloucester County Institute of Technology. And lane 6 is Delsey.
And coming in the end of the first leg, lane 6, Delsey leads it.
200 yards, as you mentioned, Delsey in lane 6. Also in lane 4, swimming very strongly is West Deptford. West Deptford seed time at 2:15:01. No time available for Deptford or Delsey. We saw earlier in this meet that one team that didn't have a seed time actually ended up winning it, but it'll be West Deptford at the midway point here with the lead over Delsey. West Deptford's time, 58.44.
This is where you can see the depth per team because you have 3 sets of relays to do, and each swimmer may only swim 2. So you have to have enough swimmers to fill all 3 relays.
Actually, there's not too many times that we'll see West Deptford in the first heat of these relays.
That's right.
West Deptford very much in command, as you see there, as we get to the final leg of this 200-yard free relay. 25 yards to go. West Deptford well in command.
And remember, their time does carry over into the next heat.
So West Deptford racing against the clock here. Delsey will be finishing second, and West Deptford in a time of 156.63. Delsey, your second place finisher in lane number 6. Wow, that was a serious drop in West Deptford's time, Mary.
It sure was. It makes you wonder if those 4 girls had swum together before, if this was the first time they were able to put the relay together. Being a co-ed team, you may often mix in a boy, and then the time isn't valid for a meet like this.
Well, right now, as it stands now, that's the 5th highest time if you count the seed times. And here will be the final heat of this event, the 200 free relay in lane 1. But we still have some swimming to go too, as GCIT ready to finish things up in lane number 5. We said GCIT showing a lot of heart here in these races today. And finishing up, getting a well-deserved ovation now. There are your times. As now we get to the final heat of the women's 200 free relay. In 1, Pittman. Lane 2, Gateway. 3, Clearview. 4, Kingsway. 5, Woodbury. 6, Our Lady of Mercy Academy. 7, Washington Township. And 8, Williamstown.
And by the times entered in the program, this should be an interesting race.
Absolutely. Kingsway, your top seed in lane 4 with a time of 150.03. Woodbury in 5, 151.92. And Clearview in lane 3, 152.30. In lane 5, we'll touch up after the first 50. That'll be Woodbury.
Out to a quick start.
Wow, but look at lane 3 now. Clearview really has done a good job on this second leg. Clearview in lane 3. By the way, the record, West Deptford in 94, 144.56. We're heading to the midway point, and it's lane number 4. Kingsway, your top seed. Clearview in 3. It'll be Clearview barely touching first.
It's interesting we're saying this because the leadoff for Clearview was Jody Kaiser, who just did the 500 freestyle, and here she is turning around now, basically doing a sprint, a 50 free.
Excuse me, Mary. Kingsway pulling ahead now in lane number 4. It's Kingsway in 4, Clearview in 3 as we get ready for the final 50 yards.
And what a 50 it'll be. Bethany Turse, who won the 100 freestyle, going for Kingsway, and Christine Loopold, who we all know of as a sprinter, in the water for Clearview.
Wow, Loopold's made up some ground, but it's Kingsway with Turse will take the lead in the final 25. Does Loopold have enough? Great turn by Loopold. Still Kingsway in front. Kingsway by a neck, but Clearview coming on. It's Kingsway, Clearview, Kingsway, and it is Clearview does it.
4/100ths of a second.
Wow, what an ending to that.
What a race. Christine really just reached and lunged for that wall, but you have to give Bethany Terse a lot of credit. And they're happy for some reason. Whether they qualified for states, I'm not quite sure, but it's good to see.
And by the way, how about our Lady of Mercy Academy in lane 6, finishing third? Mary, there you see the score there. 147.63, 147.67. Loophole on that last reach. Really gave a great effort.
That's what it was. It just came down to the touch, and she just put her head down and lunged with those long arms of hers for the wall.
It really looked from our angle that Terse was going to get that, and great race by both teams.
But like you said, Christine went in and had a fantastic turn, and that sometimes is all it takes in a sprint.
This is the men's 200 free relay, heat 1 of 2 heats. Lane 3, Washington Township, 4 Pittman, and 5 Delsey. And the first 50 yards, it's lane 3, Washington Township in front. Washington Township, the only Group 4 school in Gloucester County. Of course, Group 4 the biggest, Group 1 the smallest.
Washington Township's way out with a nice commanding lead.
Township, again, did not have a seed time. In fact, the only seed time we have here is Pittman in lane 4 at 150.70. Again, this is the first of 2 heats. But there's no doubt about it, that previous women's race was the best by far that we've seen, going neck and neck.
And we still have another set of relays to go with the 400 free relays at the end. Something to look forward to.
Washington Township really running away with this first heat. We have to see how the Minutemen time will be. Washington Township in a time of 1:40.98. Mary, that would be the 3rd highest time.
They're going to have to keep their eye on that for the next heat.
Finishing in second is Delsey in lane 5 at 152.45. And third in lane 4 is Pittman. There you see it, 156.79. Washington Township, your winner in that first heat. Now the final heat, the men's 200 free relay in 2, Clearview, 3, St. Augustine, 4, Gateway, 5, West Deptford, 6, Woodbury, 7, Kingsway. By the way, the record Clearview set in 97, 134.73. Gateway had the top seed time in lane 4 at 140.14.
And this ought to be an interesting race. Gateway is entered with a 140.14. 1/100th of a second is all we're looking at here, according to seed.
St. Augustine will touch first after the first 50
A nice lead.
in lane number 3. It's St. Augustine in 3 by about a body length right here. Also in lane 4, Gateway, keeping within distance. But it's going to be St. Augustine in lane 3. Also doing a great job is Kingsway in lane 7.
Now the rest of this heat is right together.
St. Augustine holding off. Actually have a sizable lead here, a couple body lengths in lane 3 as we're getting ready for the final 50 yards. St. Augustine by a couple body lengths. Also in lane 5, West Deptford has made up some ground, but it's St. Augustine in 3. Can West Deptford and Gateway make up the ground? It's the Hermits leading things in the final 25. St. Augustine really swimming strong.
They went out and took the lead on the first person and held it on.
St. Augustine's going to be your Gloucester County champion. Now the race for second place is going to be close between Gateway in lane 4 and West Deptford in 5, and it's West Deptford touching up with Gateway finishing 3rd. But a job well done by St. Augustine in a time 136.59.
Nice swimming. And you have to remember, relays are double the point value. So that's some nice points that Clearview and St. Augusta just scored. It would be 32 for each team.
Now we go back to the individual races, the women's 100 back, heat 1 of 2. In lane 3, Daniela Heidick, Deptford. 4, Kelly Hawley, Woodbury. 5, Elizabeth Halpin, Our Lady of Mercy. And 6, Nick McGinn of GCIT. Again, this is the first of 2 heats in the women's 100 backstroke. By the way, a veteran crew here. Heidick and Hawley, seniors. Holpen, McGinn, juniors. In lane number 5, it's Elizabeth Holpen of Our Lady of Mercy Academy in the lead. Actually, Mary, we have just 3 competitors in this.
Right, I don't believe Nicole from GCIT is here today.
But Halpin's swimming very, very strong. We just saw St. Augustine do well, its sister school, Our Lady of Mercy Academy, also doing well as Halpin takes your first place.
With an 8-second drop coming in at a 121.51.
Finishing in second in lane number 4, Kelly Hawley of Woodbury. And in third place in lane number 3, Daniela Heidick of Deptford. Now your championship event, or we should say your second heat. Casey Fizalkowski, Pittman, lane 1. Liz Nicastro, Clearview, 2. Becky Workman, Kingsway, 3. Katie Herbst, West Deptford, 4. Erin McNally, Gateway, 5. Kathy Pastizzi, Delsey, 6. Caitlin Farrell, Washington Township, 7. And Amanda Stevens, Williamstown, is in lane number 8. Not much separates the leaders here.
Nope.
In lane number 4, it's Herbst of West Deptford. She'll touch first. But in 5, McNally at Gateway is right there. By the way, the record time is 101.11 by Megan Charnock of Clearview, and that was set in 1996. Herbst still out in front. Her top seed time, 104.68. And Katie Herbst is pulling away. Herbst is going to be your Gloucester County champion. McNally right there in lane number 5, vying for second, and she'll get it. And in lane number 6, doing an outstanding job, Kathy Pastizzi of Delsey is your third place finisher. But your winner, your top seed, Katie Herbst, in a time of 104.52.
And now we hit the boys 100 backstroke.
And again, first of 2 heats. And again, for people new to watching, the first heat are the slower times that we've seen.
But that does not mean that they can't score points.
But right, if they have a good race, they could score among the top 8 in the final. So you're really not only racing against competitors, but racing against the clock. In lane 3, it's Carl Wagner, Delsey. Lane 4, Don Tash, Deptford. 5, Dave Boyd, Woodbury. And Deptford's Don Tash, whose seed time of 114.77 is about 15 seconds higher than everybody else's. So,
and he's right out there with a nice lead with a split time of 33.94 at the 50.
Tash swimming very strongly, and as Mary said, now he's trying to lower that time to maybe get some scoring among the top 7 who are in the second heat. By the way, this race, a little bit of an oddity. All 3 competitors are sophomores. Tash, there you see him there, swimming very strong. And he's going to win this heat. Cash coming in at a time of 1:11.43. So he lowers that seed time, Mary.
He sure did. Another 3 seconds off of it.
Finishing second in lane number 3 is Wagner, and Boyd coming up in third.
And all three boys should be commended because all three boys dropped their time a significant amount.
Now here's the final heat of the men's 100 backstroke. Lane 1, Justin Moore. Gateway 2, Stephen Morris. Kingsway 3, Bill Jenkins Pittman. 4, Matt Wildrick. West Deptford 5, Jack O'Donnell. St. Augustine 6, Joe Davidson, Washington Township. And 7, Joe Macaroni of Clearview.
And Ryan Hahn holds the record here with a 55.00 for Washington Township, set back in 1998. Matt Wildrick, has a nice lead going into the 50.
Yeah, Matt Wildrick will touch first, but in lane 3, Bill Jenkins right there as well.
Matt's another graduating senior for West Deptford.
Well, you can see why West Deptford is ranked in the top 10 in South Jersey among boys teams. Ranked number 8 this past week by the Courier Post. Wildrick really swimming strongly here.
He'll be close to the record.
Yes, he will. Matt Wildrick, yes, and he does get it. So Wildrick is your record holder. Finishing second in lane 3 is Bill Jenkins of Pittman, and third in lane number 5, Jack O'Donnell of St. Augustine. But our third record holder of the day, Matt Wildrick of West Deptford, in a time of 54.22. There you see it. So Christine Leupold earlier on of Clearview, Chris Dolce, West Deptford, and Matt Wildrick now. West Deptford are third record holders of the evening.
And we still have the 100 breaststrokes to go and the 400 free relays.
2 heats in the women's 100 breaststroke. Heat 1, lane 3, Mary Beth Longo, GCIT. Lane 4, Brianne King, Woodbury. 5, Jessica Morgan, Delsey.
And it appears we have another swimmer on lane 6, and that could be because of the delay, just trying to figure out if she's in the right heat, or maybe we just don't have her entered in our program. We're down to 2 events left of the evening, including the 400 free relay, which is always an exciting event to watch here. And the slight delay is just trying to make sure everybody's in the right heat. We don't want anybody swimming in the wrong heat, giving the wrong team points, or just not getting the competition you should be in. Okay, it appears that we're all set.
Well, that's what we're trying to find out. The swimmer in lane 6 that was not on here.
She is from Clearview. It just may be that an entry was missed earlier. And here we are coming into the 50, halfway through this race.
Yeah, nice job in lane number 4 and lane number 5 for Brianne King of Woodbury. 5, Jessica Morgan of Delsey. It's Morgan by about a head's length in lane number lane number 5.
And Jessica has it tough because she's swimming with her goggles down on her nose, which often happens when you dive in if you don't have them on securely.
Wow, that could be distracting for 100 meters, can it?
It sure is, and especially when you're doing your underwater pulls and they can flip down then further to your mouth.
Jessica Morgan, just a sophomore for Delsey, the leader still in this heat. Brianne King of Woodbury, though, not going away, but it's still Morgan. Morgan in the lead, and it looks like she's going to be able to hold off. It'll be Morgan from Delsey. as your winner in this first heat. King is second.
Jessica dropped her seed time 3 seconds. Nice swim.
Time of 123.92. Well, the championship, or I should say, I keep saying the championship, I should say the second heat. I'm used to Tri-County. The second heat of the women's 100 breaststroke. Lane number 1, Gretchen Ehrman, Williamstown. 2, Lindsay Kleiner, Lady Mercy Academy. 3, Allison Barnes, Gateway. 4, Heather Meng, Washington Township. 5, Jen Totten, West Deptford. 6, Allison Rose, Pittman. 7, Danielle McMahon, Deptford. And 8, Tara Pavlovsky of Kingsway.
And Heather Meng's entered with a 109. She's probably going after Juliet Lancaster's record of a 107.47, set back in 1994.
Heather Meng very strong in the red cap there, leading things for Washington Township. She's your leader through the first 50. Jen Totten of West Deptford is second. Meng, by the way, just a freshman.
This is a young heat again, mainly freshmen and sophomores. Our only senior is Gretchen in lane 1. Jen Totten doing a wonderful job there, hanging in there for second place.
Heather Meng, your top seed. Now the question is, will she be able to break the Gloucester County record? Meng has a shot at it here. Heather Meng is going to be your winner. Will she be a record holder? 107.42, that is a record.
She got her the meet record by 5/100ths of a second.
Wow, Heather Meng also doing a fine job as Totten of West Deptford in second. Your third place finisher in lane 3, Allison Barnes.
So we saw it in the last event with the men's 100 backstroke. We saw it again in a meet record broken again in the women's 100 breaststroke. And we still have the men's 100 breaststroke where there's a possibility of yet another meet record being broken. Heat 1 of the men's 100 breaststroke is up. Lane 3 we have Jeff Gerfin. Lane 4 Sean Fleming, and in lane 5 John Bolt. And again, they're all out in the first 25, pretty close together. Their seed times have them entered pretty close together.
Well, according to the seed times, actually, Fleming in lane 4 and Vol in lane 5, not much separating them. 114.80, 114.81. Well, it's lane number 5 touching up. That's Vol Delsey at the midway point. Well, the record holder in this event, a familiar name, Brent Kinsey of West Deptford. Haven't we seen him before?
Plenty of time. He's made to be around in this meet record for a while, I'm afraid.
Kinsey won the 500 earlier this evening. Again, as we mentioned, this is the first of 2 heats. Wow, looking very strong. He'll be your winner. And coming in second is Sean Fleming of Woodbury. There are your times. Now the second heat of the 100 breaststroke. In lane 2, Dave Carolla, Washington Township. 3, Matt Stevick, Pittman. 4, Tim Potter, West Deptford. 5, Terry Dean, St. Augustine. 6, Zach Donner, Gateway. 7, Travis Jacobs of Kingsway. Tim Potter, your top seed at time of 1:50.
And he's going out for Brent Kinsing's record from the looks of it.
Well, I'll tell you what, that seed time is already better than the record in this event. Potter looking very strong coming to the midway point.
What's nice is to see his teammates cheering him on at both ends of the pool.
Right now, Tim Potter is just racing against the clock.
And you can see at the edge of your screen, second and third place being battled out between Matt Stevick and Terry Dean.
But it'll be Potter now. And a record well within sight for the West Effort Junior. Tim Potter coming in now. Can he get the Gloucester
he
County
should have
record?
it.
It's close. At 1 minute, 6 seconds, he shatters the Gloucester County record. And Terry Dean of St. Augustine finishing second. But another record set in the meet by Tim Potter.
And there you can see the record, 1:00.06. He broke the record by almost 3 seconds.
Fifth record that we've had here tonight at the Gloucester County Swim Championships.
Those West Effort boys sure are strong. I believe it's the second one set by West Effort boys, or the third one? Third one.
Matt Wildrick and Chris Dalsey.
Right, and now Timmy, so that's the third by the West Effort boys. That alone shows you their depth and their strength.
The other record holders tonight, Christine Leupold of Clearview and Heather Mang, the freshman from Washington Township.
Now we only have one event left. It's the 400 free relay.
And we'll get to that event, always one of the more exciting ones at this meet, and we'll get to that event right after this timeout.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Jacobelli from the Hospitality Management Program. I invite you to visit Gloucester County Institute of Technology to learn more about our career preparation programs. Students who successfully complete our programs start a career, earn advanced college credits, or enter apprenticeship programs. For more information, call today.
And welcome back. Mark Narducci, Mary Swersler here at the Gloucester County Swim Championships with the women's 400 free relay. First of two heats. In lane 3, Delsey, 4, Gloucester County Institute of Technology, 5, Williamstown, and 6, Deptford.
And in this race, each of the women will swim 4 laps of the pool.
Actually, we do not have a lane number 6, do we?
No, we don't. Deptford didn't put a team in.
Again, as we said, this is the first of 2 heats. And this is our second, the final event. The final event will be the men's 400 free relay.
And earlier this evening, before our meet started, we had the diving competition that correlates with the swimming for this meet for the Jim Roach Memorial. And we'd like to give you the results from the men and women diving. For the women, first place finish was Kate Wittenberger with a score of 171 points, and she was from Delsey. Second place for the women was Jackie Purnell with 162.85 points of Washington Township, and finishing third was Natalie Doble from Pittman with 146.5 points. The results of the men's diving, first place finish was Jesse Rappaport with 167.95 points, and he was from I'm not sure where he's from. I don't have that. I'm sorry, Jesse. Second place was Rick Whitson with 157.4 points. He was from Delsey. And finishing third, a substitute for West Effort, was Rob Tender with 132 points even. Congratulations to all the divers who actually did all their diving prior to the beginning of our swim meet here.
By the way, interesting story about Delsey's Kate Wittenberger, the winner of the Women's Diving Championship. This is her first year in organized diving.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, and she's a former gymnast, and she's really come on strong. Already owns a school record.
So she's already got the natural ability to twist and turn that body and do the flips that are necessary to be a very successful diver.
I believe we have the school of Jesse Rappaport, by the way, Glassboro.
And he's the only participant here this evening from Glassboro. So that's a nice showing that he was able to score within the top 3.
Well, in this one again, this is the first heat of the 400 free relay, and Williamstown in lane 5 is your leader. Again, just 3 participants in this one. There you see Williamstown, GCIT there, but trailing actually by a couple of laps. And Williamstown in the blue to the far left is your leader. 100 yards each.
And I believe this is the last swimmer for them.
The last one, 50 more to go. Williamstown, one of the Group 3 schools in Gloucester County. West Deptford this year, a Group 3 school. Delsey, Clearview. We talked about Washington Township, the only Group 4 school, but so this is not a big school county as you have in Camden County and Burlington County, but still a lot of outstanding young talent as we've seen tonight. And Williamstown finishes up in a time of 4:50.10.
South Jersey certainly made itself known on the map for its swimming within the recent years.
Yeah, it used to be that, when people went up North Jersey, they said, what's the South going to do? But the South has really accredited itself well recently. The other thing people don't realize, Mary, they say, well, North Jersey has more championships. Well, they have more schools. There are twice as many. There's a North 1 and a North 2 section. The state's, for athletic purposes, is divided among 4 sections, North 1, North 2, Central, and South. So when they use the generic term in North Jersey, there are a lot of schools. There is a lot of athletic talent, don't get me wrong. But there are twice as many schools. That would make a difference.
It's a big area, though. And we can see GCIT swimming, finishing up their last 50 right here.
We said first year GCIT competing in the Gloucester County Championships, and the young athletes have really done well.
They certainly have. They should be proud of themselves, and the school should be proud of the fact that they're representing themselves so nicely.
There's as we said, a lot of talented athletes here, and it's not easy to start things off and be able to compete head-to-head with these people. And, within time, it's going to happen.
I'm sure it gets discouraging, too, sometimes going into these meets where you're swimming the larger teams. But they've done a nice job, and their coach, Mike's done a nice job in keeping their heads even and everybody interested in participating.
Absolutely. There are your times. And now we'll get to the second heat of the women's 400 free relay. In 1, Gateway. 2, Our Lady of Mercy. 3, West Deptford. 4, Washington Township. 5, Kingsway. 6, Pittman. 7, Woodbury. And 8, Clearview. The record was set by West Deptford at 348.33. That was in 1994. Top seed Washington Township. Best time, 4 minutes, .70.
And West Deptford's going into the first 50 of this race with the lead.
West Deptford in lane number 3. Coming up, by the way, the men's 400 free relay. And we've had 5 records in this event, and the word is that the Eagles are going to look to make it 6.
And I wouldn't put it past them. If they want it, they are probably going to get it. Coming in at the end of the first leg here, we have West Deptford leading, followed by a close second place with Our Lady and Kingsway over.
Yeah, Kingsway in lane 5 had made up some ground, but West Deptford, a very strong first 100 yards, 57.21 was the time for the Eagles.
And I believe that was led off by Megan Sebastian. In the water now is Lauren Brown. This is a very young relay for West Deptford. Most of the girls are only sophomores or juniors.
You talk about the great addition Sebastian's been to West Deptford.
That was a prime example right there, taking it out and giving her team a nice lead.
By the way, doing a good job also in lane 4, Washington Township, right behind West Deptford. But West Deptford is going to have the lead at the midway point.
Jen Cotton's going in for West Deptford.
156.99 at the midway point for West Deptford.
But don't knock out Washington Township. They have 2 strong people left on their relays.
And Washington Township has made up some serious ground in this first 25 yards of the third leg. West Deptford, and now Township has pulled ahead. It's neck and neck, and Washington Township has really made up some ground. The Minute Maids, the top seed in this event.
We have a nice race going on right here between the 2 teams.
Township ahead by a head. It's that close.
Washington Township comes out of that turn with a lead. That leaves Lauren O'Donnell on the block to try and hold off Katie Herbst from West Deptford.
Township did an outstanding job on that third leg, and now the final 100 yards. Township is your leader. West Deptford now trying to keep pace. West Deptford's seed time was about 4 seconds behind Washington Township. Remember last year West Deptford won this event, and that helped the Eagles win the Gloucester County Championship. But Washington Township oh so strong as we get to the final 50 yards.
Will it be the same this year? Will this race help Washington Township win overall? We'll have to wait and find out when those final scores come out.
A lot of people thought that Township might be the team to beat here. Township now cruising. It's going to be Washington Township. There won't be a record, but there will be a championship for the Minute Maids. Township first in a time of 3:51.84. West Deptford a great effort at 3:55.29. Finishing third in lane number 5, Kingsway, 3:57.93.
And look at the time drops by all 3 teams, anywhere from 8 to 10 seconds. Great team effort by all 3 of the top finishers there.
Hello? And actually the race is still being contested. In lane 1, we still have Gateway hanging in there.
And finishing up over in lane 8 is Clearview.
Well, what a surge by Washington Township. It was that third leg that really started turning it around.
All 4 swimmers have to pull together to do a relay to make it a successful event.
And that finishes everything up. And Mary, that will bring us to the final event. Just one heat of the men's 400 free relay. Lane 1, Delsey, 2 Woodbury, 3 Pittman, 4 West Deptford, 5 St. Augustine, 6 Kingsway, 7 Gateway, and 8 Washington Township. The record set last year by West Deptford, 3:27.24. You think this is attainable?
It certainly is. This is always an interesting race. It's a fun race to watch with 4 older boys just giving everything that they have for themselves and their teammates.
Well, West Deptford leads Pittman in the first 50.
And Washington Township over there in lane 8 is hanging right with St. Augustus and Washington Township, or West Deptford, I'm sorry.
You know, Washington Township did not have a seed time, and sometimes you have to watch those schools. Township, you're right, doing a great job in lane 8, but it's West Deptford in lane 4. West Deptford will touch first after the first 100 yards.
And that was led by Chris Dawsey, and now in the water is Matt Wildrick. Washington Township and St. Augustus still right on in there, and Pittman is hanging in tight too.
But it's West Deptford in lane 4, as you see coming down on your screen. All the way in the far right, you see lane 8, Washington Township hanging in there. But West Deptford very strong through 150 yards. There you see the times. And we'll have to see how West Deptford's time is at the midway point, Mary.
It'll be interesting to see. We still have Timmy Potter coming up next for West Deptford, and I'm going to assume that they're going to anchor them with Brent Kinsing.
West Deptford's time, 140.74 at the midway point.
Washington Township went in second, followed by St. Augustus and Pittman battling it out for third place.
By the way, West Deptford had a seed time of about 11 seconds higher than just about everybody else. So will there be another record here tonight? There have already been 5 at the Gloucester County Championships.
We should find out in shortly over a minute. As we enter the last lap.
West Deptford with the anchor leg.
2:31.60 going into the anchor. Washington Township's coming in for the second.
Well, Washington Township's done a great job in lane 8, and as we said, only reason for being in lane 8, there was no seed time.
And sometimes you tend to forget those outside lanes. You don't look for them to be part of your competition. So it might be to their advantage to be way out there.
Less than 50 yards to go for West Deptford. Again, that record, 3:27.24. 25 yards to go, less than that. It looks like West Deptford has an outstanding shot at the record.
Should be within their grasp.
Absolutely, West Deptford coming in. The Eagles looking to do it, and they swim in 3:21.75. They shattered the record that they set last year. There you see the final time.
Nice.
Washington Township, Mary, coming in second in lane number 8, and coming in third in lane number 5 was St. Augustine.
Nice team effort, very nice. And as you can see, our race continues. We still have a couple swimmers who still have another 50 to go.
By the way, finishing 4th in this event in lane 3, Pittman. 5th in lane 7, Gateway. And 6th in lane 6, Kingsway.
So does that make for a 7 meet records here tonight? And then of which 4, I believe, would be West Deptford boys. And we're finishing up here with lane 7 coming into the wall.
I believe it's 6.
6 records.
But West Deptford has been a dominant force, and that's no surprise. The Eagles came in as a heavy favorite tonight.
And I believe they lived up to that with the performance that we could see.
Yeah, we have not been able to get the scoring as the meet goes on, but it would be a monumental shock if anyone other than West Deptford boys won this event. Well, that will wrap up the swimming portion of this. We'll be back to give you the winners and wrap things up from the McLean Fitness Center at the Gloucester County Institute of Technology.
All across the country, thousands of exciting and rewarding jobs await those who like a challenge. And what better way to learn than working with an experienced professional? It's called an apprenticeship program, and it's available now through the Gloucester County Institute of Technology. It's your opportunity to put classroom knowledge into practical on-the-job applications by matching you with a working professional in the field of your choice. Best of all, you earn as you learn. Start your career now. Call 468-1445, extension 2000.
welcome back to GCIT, the McLean Fitness Center. There you're looking at Brett Kinsing of West Deptford. He was just named the outstanding male swimmer. Bethany Terse of Kingsway, the female swimmer. And Mary, some very interesting final results here.
We sure did. The women's results ended up being the top three was Kingsway with a 153. West Deptford finished second with 160, and Washington Township finished first with 173 points.
And West Deptford boys won the boys swimming portion with a total of 207 points. Washington Township second with 186. And how about St. Augustine?
They came
third place with 172. A great job by the Hermits.
For a first-year team in here, they really made everybody wake up, and now they're going to have an eye on them next year.
And Mary, it was close. There's an overall winner also, and this year's overall winner in Gloucester County, West Deptford, and it was close.
They had 367 points. Second place went to Washington Township with 359 points. So I'm sure those two will be back at it next year to try and rival each other again for the combination win.
Yeah, we had six meet records in this. We had some great matchups going down there. But it also goes to show you with how close things were, every place counts.
Doesn't matter where you finish, if it's first, second, or even if you end up 7th or 8th. Every single point counts in this meet.
So that'll wrap it up here from the McLean Fitness Center at Gloucester County Institute of Technology. Once again, Washington Township, the girls winner, West Deptford, the boys winner, and West Deptford, the overall winner. We'd like to thank the production crew at GCIT and all the people here for making this possible. For Mary Swersler, Mark Narducci saying thanks for watching and have a good evening, everybody.